Okie dokie. All right. Trying to think how it's written in there. Oops, missing an X. Okay. For this one, I'm going to take out my greatest common factor, which is an X. So I have my limit as X goes to 5, and keep your minus sign and take out an X. Okay, now keep in mind, with greatest common factor, it has to work so when I distribute whatever I've taken out of there, I get what I originally had. So I'm going to have an X here, okay, because negative X, this, if I were to distribute the negative sign up here, it would look like this, okay? So this has to equal the same thing. So negative X times X is negative X squared. Negative X times negative 5. No, it's positive 5. Okay? That'll give me my negative 5X. That was stupid. I don't know why I explained it like that. Wait, I think I screwed up something. Hold on. What did I say? Take out the negative X. Okay, this isn't going to help me, is it? Because I can't reduce anything. What about if I factor it differently? What about instead of taking out a negative X, I take out an X? Then that gives me negative X plus, I'm sorry. That's not helping me. Oh, shoot. Okay, I should have written down the problem the way it was given. Anyway, the answer is negative 5. Limit X goes to 5. Okay, it's negative X squared plus 5X. Factor down a negative X. There we go. Okay, so negative X times X, and negative times negative, positive. So I have the limit as X goes to 5 of negative X, which is just going to be negative 5. Sorry, I just had a mini stroke. It's all right. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. Okay. I love you guys. How you doing out there in TV land? Okay. So, same old, right? Keep your minus sign. Reverse FOIL factoring. So it'll be minus 2 plus 1. Again, I don't have to think that hard. Use this as your first factor and then back into your second one. So when you FOIL this, you get this. And then you have your X minus 2. So obviously X can't equal 2 as it's written here because division by 0. But if I reduce, limit as X goes to 2 minus X plus 1, just replace the X with this number. So I have negative 2 plus 1, negative 3. Okay. Reverse FOIL kind of factoring. Let this be your guide. Okay, so we have our limit as X goes to negative 5, X plus 5, and then what times 5 gives you a negative 10? Be negative 2. So the limit, if I let x equal negative 5, it's going to be negative 5 minus 2 is negative 7. Okay, then it gets a little dicey. So I want to go over something with you that you did in algebra, but probably not in pre-calc. Okay. When you just have a blob, like we have some kind of fraction like this, it's called a rational function. Whenever that's math speak for fractional. Okay, you're in simplified mode. The only tool you have to use is to multiply by something over itself. Something over itself equals 1. 1 times anything is itself, so you're totally allowed to do that. So for instance, if I have, let's see, x plus 1 over 2 over x, okay? That's a compound fraction. You don't want a compound fraction because it's a fraction within a fraction, and it's too cumbersome. If I give you a value for x, it's too hard to tell if it's a big number or a little number, what's it going to equal. So what we want to do is we want to change this to be just a straight up fraction, not a fraction in a fraction. So I look at this one, and I look at this little secondary denominator. That's what I want to eliminate. Now, I'm big on parentheses. If I were to multiply this by x, what would happen? Those x's cancel, and I lose that little denominator. But I can't just arbitrarily, random, start multiplying stuff by something. I can only multiply by a value of 1. X over x equals 1. 1 times anything is itself. So this is legit, okay? So now, up here, I have x times x plus 1. And down here, the x's cancel, and I just have 2. You follow? So now I don't have a compound fraction. Let's do another one. What about if I have 3 over x over x minus 5? Okay, parentheses, like that. Okay, take a look at what it is that you don't want to be there, which would be this little x here. So I would like to multiply this by x, so I could but top and bottom have to be identical. Okay, so this times the x just gives you 3. And down here you can have x times x minus 5. You can distribute the x if you want, but I mean I'm not solving for anything here. Okay? Okay. If you have something a little more complicated, say I have 2 over x plus 3 over x plus 1, whole thing over, say, 10. Okay. Parentheses on your little binomial, parentheses on your big binomial. I want to eliminate both of these. To eliminate this, I would have to multiply this fraction by x. To eliminate this, I have to multiply it by x plus 1. Top and bottom have to be identical. Sure doesn't look like a 1, but it's worth 1. Okay, now, when I take this fraction times these two things, this guy times these two, the x's cancel, and I have 2 times x plus 1. Now when I take this times this, the x plus 1s are going to cancel, and I just have 3x. And down here, I'm going to have 10x, x plus 1. Okay, now this one, that's still too much happening. So here I would distribute the 2, because then I can combine like terms. And in the bottom, you can distribute it if you want, or you can just leave it like that, because it's simplified if it's factored. Okay, so this gives you 5x plus 2 over 10x, x plus 1. Notice I can't reduce the 5 and the 10 because this isn't a factor. It's not something being multiplied. Okay, so that's going to take us to number 11. So again, it's not the concept of limits that's hard, it's the algebra. I love algebra, I think it's great. But I don't think I'm in the majority with that. Okay, so 1 over negative 4 plus x. Parentheses, 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 baby. Okay, plus 1/4. except Beth. Parentheses on your big binomial, okay? The whole thing, and then also on this secondary binomial. And down here we just have an x. Okay, so I have these littler fractions within the big fraction, so I want to get rid of these little denominators. So I'm going to, in order to get rid of this one, I have to multiply by negative 4 plus x. To get rid of this one, I have to multiply by 4. Top and bottom have to be identical. Okay, so when I take this fraction here times this stuff, the negative 4 plus x's cancel. So my limit is x goes to 0. And that's going to leave me, that cancels with that, 1 times 4 is 4. When I take this fraction times those two, those 4's cancel, and I'm left with negative 4 plus x. Okay, and down here, I'm just going to go ahead and put the 4 out front because he looks better out there. Okay, so in the top here, and you can see I can't let x equal 0 because I would have division by 0. Okay, so the 4's are going to cancel, so I'm going to have x over 4x negative 4 plus x. Now, since these things are being multiplied, I can cancel those x's. And that's going to give me my limit as x goes to 0 of 1 over 4 times negative 4 plus x. So if I let x equal 0, I'm going to have 1 over 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. Okay, remember it doesn't matter where that minus sign falls. That's tricky.